Let's create another randomly generated piece of jewelry. Today's numbers are drawer number 2 and impression die number 16. Might be a little hard to see in here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
So here is our die. So I have multiple designs on here. I'll need to decide which one to use. I was really tempted to use this little sad penguin over here, and I might do that one separately just for fun. But I'm going to use this flower.
At this point, I'm not yet sure what I'm going to make with the flower, but I'm gonna go ahead and press 2 just in case I want to make earrings. I'm using 20 gauge silver and a small piece of urethane in my 2010 hydraulic press to form the metal down into the die. And just like that, I've picked up all the detail. Next, I cut each flower out by hand using my jeweler's saw with a blade that's about the thickness of a human hair, and then using different sanding attachments to smooth and refine the edges. And now I have to figure out what I'm going to make. I rarely plan things out, so I've brought over some enamel test tiles, some different components and stones that I may want to use, and I just move the different elements around until I find something that I think will be interesting. At this point, I've decided that I am going to make a pair of earrings. I love making earrings, even though I have to make 2 of the same thing. I didn't want to leave the flowers completely flat, so I place them in this wooden forming block and form a slight dome just to give them a little bit of depth and dimension. Next, I'll drill a hole through the center of each flower. And now comes the fun part. I've decided to enamel the flowers. What I'm sifting onto the back of the flower is powdered glass that I will then heat with my torch to fuse it into a transparent layer of glass on the surface of the metal. I use a torch to heat the piece from below until the enamel melts and flows, creating a solid glass layer. And now I'm adding another layer of enamel onto the front of the flower. I don't know about you, but I love watching that powdered glass turn glossy. Here are the finished flowers. Because the flame of the torch was in contact with the back, the enamel on the back is slightly discolored. And now I have to make the rest of the earrings. I make a coil of this patterned sterling silver wire, cut the coil into 2 rings, and then solder the ends together to create a complete loop. I want a perfect circle for these earrings. After cleaning them up, I use a small ball peen hammer to forge a section of the hoop to where we will attach the flower. Drill a hole and then attach the 2 components. I always make my own ear wires, so here I'm making just a simple pair of like shepherd's hook style ear wires. And here are the finished earrings. I added a patina so that the yellow of the flower would really pop against the silver. I'm just thrilled how these came out. I know these flowers are not sunflowers, but I went to school in Kansas, and these really make me think of the fields of sunflowers there. And of course, I need to sign my piece. Because the metal components of these earrings are pretty small, I'm using a diamond tool to engrave the enamel glass on the back of the earrings. And here you can see the finished signature. Thank you so much for playing along. I'm loving these randomly generated jewelry pieces. If you want to play along, I need 2 numbers from you. First, I need a number 1 through 8 that will determine which drawer I choose. And then I need a second number 1 through 85, which will determine which impression die from that drawer we'll choose and use to make a piece of jewelry. I'm randomly choosing a comment, and the person whose numbers I choose will get first dibs on purchasing the piece of jewelry made with their numbers. Of course, there's absolutely no pressure to buy. This is all for fun and to push me outside of my comfort zone and maybe make something that you enjoy as well. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.